Alright guys, welcome. Today we have the first interview here in the channel and I'm here with Joe.
Hello.
Joe, it's from a project that is on Worldpackers. We are here volunteering for the last 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And we have been through such a good time here and it's been incredible. And we'll have another video here in the channel talking about our volunteering. But today specifically we'll be interviewing Joe.
Okay, hi.
So Joe, please introduce yourself.
I'm Joe. My husband and I run the Moulin D'allos. My husband's called Steve. And part of the year we welcome Worldpackers, and part of the year we welcome bed and breakfast guests. And we've lived in France since 2015, but we've lived in this place since 2019. So this is our 5th year.
Oh, that's already some time I've been here. So
yeah.
I heard also that before coming to this house to reform it, because you the first moment you got here, it was like it needed some repair.
It did. It was a house that was quite sort of unloved, and it needed a huge amount of renovation work doing to it. So apart from like really the things that are very obvious that you see, like we have a great kitchen now, but there was like all the boring stuff to do, so we had to replace the roof and we had to insulate it, and now it's quite a good building in terms of just being quite a sound place to live as well as looking nice.
Yeah, I imagine that. I can imagine that. But you did like an awesome job because it looks amazing. You have like this nice garden. You have this nice I forgot how we call it, but the area where you grow your food,
the potager,
the potager,
yeah,
all that stuff. Like it's really great.
So none of that was here beforehand. We've just created that from scratch.
No, that's so cool. And how old is the house? You know, like.
Well, the first time that anybody paid taxes on it was in 1820.
Okay.
So it's quite old, but there's been a mill here for a long, long time. I think probably before that time too.
So it's at least 200 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's quite a long time.
How did it happen for you to start running the bed and breakfast? That was always an idea, like receiving guests here, or it's something that came up along the road?
No, it didn't start off that way. We just wanted to renovate the house and to have like a bit of an adventure doing it. But the thing is that this house was it just felt quite a lonely, unloved kind of place, not very sort of warm. And we decided that if we wanted to like breathe some life into the place, we needed to have people coming. It needed to be a place that people were attracted to come to. So the first thing that we did was we had Worldpackers. And that was really good because when you have young people in a place, although some of our Worldpackers aren't that young, but when you have young people in a place and you have people coming and going, it gives the house an energy and a vibrancy and life. So that was the first thing. And then we thought we really enjoyed doing that. And also, you know, everybody likes a bit of money, don't they?
Yeah.
So we thought we would go into bed and breakfast and, you know, see how that turned out. And that's been really successful. We both have some history in catering and sort of hosting people anyway, because quite a while ago Steve was he ran his own pub and he created a microbrewery there. So he's like been involved in that for, you know, and hospitality in that format. And also I ran a little catering company when I was in the UK, and also my parents were involved in like hospitality. They had cafes and bed and breakfast all their lives. And so it's just a natural progression for us.
It's something you've always been somehow connected to it. And did you also travel a lot, or?
Me personally, not as much as Steve. Steve has traveled extensively, mainly in like the Middle East and the Far East, and that was to do with his work before. But me, you know, I've been to a few places, but it's not been a huge thing in my life. Maybe not as much as I would have liked it to have been.
Yeah, I imagine that. But still not late, right?
No, still not too late.
That's so nice. And so you said a bit about like the Worldpackers. How did Worldpackers happen to you? Like you had this need of bringing energy, bringing people to also enjoy this space, which would be like a shame to not share it, because it's like such a nice place.
Absolutely, and if there was just us two in here, we'd be like rattling around in it. What's the point of that? You know, what's the point of having something so great and not sharing it with people? So we heard about Worldpackers, I think through a Facebook site or something like that, or maybe I read a book about somebody that had done some travelling and they talked about Worldpackers. But we investigated it, and Worldpackers was the first one that we came to. I know that there are other sites, but it was the first one that we came to, and we've always had like really good people from it, and we just stuck with it because it's always worked for us.
Yeah. For how long have you been receiving Worldpackers?
Since 2019.
2019, so that's 5 years now. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Probably a lot of people, a lot of stories, a lot of discussions in the dining table.
Absolutely. The dining room, the dinner table is like the key venue for the Worldpackers thing. It's one of the things that we enjoy most about it, is being able to sit around a table with people from other cultures and discuss everything, like politics, religion, sex, family, traveling. We like to know about people. We like to understand people's lives, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, I guess the greatest thing about the whole experience with people that are traveling, or when you are traveling to connect with the locals, is just this thing of sharing your experience, your point of view, because we all have like different point of views based on what we have lived so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really very enriching.
It is, and also I think that people like you who travel around the world, and a little bit like us who do something outside the normal way of living a life, we have something in common. You know, we will go out of our comfort zone, so that's already something we have in common.
These 2 weeks we've been here, we've been talking like about a lot of things. When we were having dinner, the dinner moment is like a really good moment for shared ideas and have these conversations. One thing we've been talking a lot is about like politics and how we can change the world by changing people.
Yeah.
Right? So my question for you is, what impact you expect to have on people that are traveling and pass through here?
Okay, so we don't expect to have an impact on people, but we hope that we will. So first of all, we're really aware of stuff that's going on with the environment and climate change. We have an open mind on it, but we kind of like feel that there are certain ways of respecting your environment, and it's really good to teach people about how to do that. And that's one of the things that we really want to get over. So we try to tell people about how to look after your soil, how to grow your own stuff, how to make a compost heap, that kind of thing, because it's really good for people to know that, and it's something that they have when they go away from us, even if it's just a little thing like, be responsible for your own stuff. Don't expect other people to look after the stuff that you throw away, kind of thing. If one person goes away with that message, then that's really, really good. The other thing as well is that we get a lot of young people here, and we get a lot of young people saying that, politics is it's a foregone conclusion, that people can't do anything to change the world that we live in, or the politics of the world that we live in. And one of the things that we try and tell people is that we really can change the politics, and you can do something about it. I don't want to sort of sound like I'm campaigning too much, but I think it's really important.
I completely understand, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I think that it's really easy for people to say that it doesn't matter to vote, and that it doesn't affect anything, it won't change anything. And that's really wrong, because voting does change things. And governments and the people who are in power actually don't really want you to vote. They want you to kind of like not bother, because they quite like it as it is. It's working to their benefit. So I just think that if one person goes away from here who hasn't voted previously and goes and votes, whichever way they vote, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be what I believe in. It's a win for me, because
for sure.
It's really important.
Yeah, because I guess like one of the things that we were talking, it's like for example, you know a lot about like how this thing work in England.
Yeah.
And they were quite different in Brazil.
Yeah.
Like for example, we were talking in Brazil, like you were obligated to vote.
Yeah.
In England, you're not.
It's not
And
compulsory.
this year we have elections.
Yeah.
And like people, if they don't want, they can just choose not to vote, which is a very bad thing, I guess, right?
I think it is really bad, and I think that it's sad that people think that they're not important. You guys, you're really important for the world.
You are important.
You are really important, and you really matter. And what you think really matters as well. And that's it's so sad when people think that they're unimportant, because you're not, you are really important.
Yeah, and I guess something like traveling around, even though before coming here to Europe, when I was traveling inside Brazil, I had never traveled so much actually, but I was able to meet some people, meet different places. I guess that's really related with traveling, like this whole politics thing, because you kind of learn to see the things from others' perspective.
Absolutely.
And that's something that's really important, and it's like the greatest part in all this experience of sharing the dining table, for example.
Absolutely.
Like you can.
And you guys are almost all the way there anyway, just because you are traveling. Your minds are open to the fact that there are different cultures and different ways of doing things, and that's really important.
Yes, for sure it is. For sure it is. We've been talking a little bit like a politics about the community itself of people who are traveling, and one thing that it really gets me, it's how it's cool to be received by nice people like you, because I don't know if you guys know this, but this is the very first time we are volunteering to a place that's not a hostel. We are actually staying in their house, where they also run a business during the season.
During the summer.
During the summer, okay. But the whole thing with it is, it's like, what do you say for people to encourage people to share their spaces? Because I'm really sure there are so many people out there that they have like farms, or they have like social projects, or things, like many things that they could be receiving volunteers. What would you say to encourage more people to be hosts? Like,
I think
how that impact your life?
Yeah, I think that there will be some people who are quite nervous about encouraging people into their homes, but we've only ever had really good experiences, and I think we're very good now at finding the right people for us. So I think that you need to really work hard to make sure that you get the right people for you. I think that it's really life enriching. You meet lots of different people, you hear about their different cultures, you hear about their different lives, and some people have had some like major life experiences which otherwise we'd never get to hear about. And I think that it's just a really nice thing to have people in your home bringing an energy to you, and also we get a lot of work done. I mean, this is a really big place.
A lot of weeding.
A lot of weeding. There's a lot of weeding to do. But it is quite a big task for us. And at the end of the 2 weeks, we're absolutely exhausted, but we've achieved a lot. And there's a real sense of a team when you have Worldpackers. It's not just about saying, well, you've got to go and do that, and cracking the whip. It's kind of like it's a team effort, and I think everybody benefits from that, really.
Yeah. I guess you also probably you had like the chance of receiving volunteers that also could like bring things for you as well. Like I guess like most of the people who join you for these weeks you're open to, they go out and they learn a lot. I myself, like I learned so much, even though I was quite familiar with all we've been doing here. I hope we also are letting some knowledge, some nice things for you. I guess like it's like an exchange.
Yeah, definitely. I think for us, when we select Worldpackers, but there's a process, isn't there? You have to answer some questions, and then we decide whether, on the basis of those questions, whether we're going to interview you or not. And during the interview, you have a chance to weigh each other up and decide whether you'd actually like each other or not. For us, experience in gardening is not really relevant because we can teach you everything that we need to know for this particular sort of role. But in the past, for instance, I've had a lady who was an art teacher, and she came and basically sat behind me for a fortnight whilst I painted a picture and made me cups of tea, but also gave me some guidance. So
nice.
That was quite a different experience, but it just shows how many different aspects there are to Worldpackers. It doesn't all have to be about gardening or housework. It can be about, something that you want to learn, maybe.
Yeah, or making interviews.
Yes, or making interviews. we had another person who was really, really good with Instagram, and I was really struggling with Instagram last year, and she came and showed me how to do Instagram reels, which was like so valuable to me. But she wasn't doing gardening particularly, it was just a different aspect of things. So it doesn't all have to be about gardening, and really what we look for certain things in Worldpackers at the interview stage and in the question stage, and then after that it's just whether you've got a chemistry with somebody, really.
Yo, that's deep. Like I'm also feeling a bit like ooh, I get chosen. Like it's been a pleasure being here for these 2 weeks. I'm actually really sad we'll be leaving tomorrow.
I know.
But it's part of it. I know we may come back. And you also still have contact with many people that have volunteered here, right?
Yeah, we have some people that we really love and who had a massive impact on us. And we're still in touch with a lot. In fact, we're really in touch with kind of like 80% of all the Worldpackers that have ever been. And maybe not really regularly, but certainly maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and then others really frequently. So for us, that's, what a great thing to come away with.
Yeah,
you have
for
more
sure,
friends.
for sure. Like some people look at Worldpackers, like saying more from my point of view as a traveler. I know many people look at Worldpackers thinking just a way to travel like for free or for like a cheap way of traveling, but it's also a really good way of making like great friends and creating connection with people.
Yeah. I mean, we are thinking that, that we won't be doing the Moulin D'allos B&B and Worldpacking forever, because we'd actually like to go on our own travels. So, you never know, you might see us over in Brazil sometime.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
And, and I think, we would do that. We would seek people out and get back get back together to see them, and I think that would be really good.
I feel so excited talking with you about this topic because I'm just 25 and sometimes I feel like I'm just running against the clock. Like I have to travel, I have to go there, I have to do this and that. Like it's gonna be too late. And like, not saying that you're old, because
yes, you are.
No. You were obviously a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
Not that much, I'm sure.
How old are you? About 25. So I'm about 35 years older, am I, than you? Yeah. 35 years
That's
older.
not too much. That's not too much. And you still like, but the thing is, like, even though we were still like considering go out and take a backpack or just a suitcase, whatever, and to go to a different country, meet people,
we really like having adventures. You know, we see life as a series of adventures, and you know, when you stop wanting to have an adventure, God, that's really sad, isn't it?
It's kind of boring.
It is, yeah.
Like you only live once,
Exactly.
so you have to make like the most of it, right?
Yeah.
It's important for you guys to know I'll be sharing Joe's Instagram and Le Moulin project on Worldpackers in case you ever want to apply to come volunteer here. But I'll make a question for you that will help all these people that may want to come here.
Okay.
What would you look for in a Worldpacker?
Well, first of all, there's a set of questions and they are really well tailored so that we can decide where at that stage whether that person is going to be right for us. So we're not sort of like really spiritual person, but people, if somebody comes along and says, well, you know, I want to conquer the world and, you know, spread free love and stuff, we're kind of like, that's maybe a little bit too kind of like spiritual for us. But also equally, we ask questions like, how fit are you and what exercise do you do? Because I'm sure that you understand that sometimes the work here is very physical.
Yeah, you can get like a little bit physical.
It is. It can be very hard work, and if you're not physically fit, you won't enjoy it. You know, sometimes the weather has been appalling, and if you're not prepared to go outside when it's raining, it's a real problem for us. So we ask questions about things that it will help us to decide whether that person is going to be happy with us, because there's no point in having somebody here that isn't enjoying the experience at all. And then the next thing is we interview you, and in the interview that will tell us whether you speak English to a reasonable level, because if you don't speak English well enough for us to be able to have that interaction, for us it's not going to work. And
yeah, for sure.
We have done that in the past. It's been really difficult actually, and we've tried to be really kind of open and helpful with that, but there's a level of conversation where it just becomes difficult, and it's really tiring for the volunteer as well. It's really tiring.
Yeah, I guess like not being able to communicate sometimes basic stuff, or even though when we have to talk about like the word, it has to be done, like it gets impossible. Yeah. So some really English English is actually basic for traveling nowadays.
It is really. So we can well, when I say put up, but we can manage with a certain level of difficulty, but if it's too much, it just becomes too difficult. But the main important thing is whether somebody is kind of like smiling, open-faced, happy, just kind of willing to talk, because that's a huge thing. All the rest of the stuff, you know, like gardening, I don't care whether you've got any gardening experience. I'm hoping that you'll go away and want to garden after you've been with us. But actually, you know, in some ways it's better if you don't. And it's irrelevant. But the worst thing for me and for Steve would be if we were sat across at somebody over the dinner table and we couldn't have a conversation because, you know, they were unhappy with talking about the things that we enjoy talking about and finding out about. If somebody is closed to us and doesn't want to share their experiences with us and what they've been doing, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? And for us, that interaction, that's the whole point of Worldpackers for us. It's about having people in your life and finding out about them. And if you can't do that, it's just not going to work. Yeah, it isn't. Yeah.
That's awesome. Joe, thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
And also thank you so much for having us. I'm feeling so special now you talk about like this whole selection of the Worldpackers thing. I'm feeling like
it's true.
Sorry,
you know?
guys.
It's true. It's true. So, you know.
That's awesome. Guys, if you want to know this project, which is very nice, you can find the links for the project here on the description. I will also publish the other video where I'll tell more about like our work here and how went things during these 2 weeks we've been here, will be like really nice.
Mainly rain.
Yeah, but we are so unlucky with that. We just checked the forecast for the next place we're going, and we'll have just rain
Oh,
for the
no.
next weeks. Like it starts, the sun will shine here and the rain will
Just
go
as
there.
you're leaving, the forecast is getting
I
better.
guess we're taking the Curitiba weather with us, which is really sad. So, guys, thank you for watching. Joe, thank you for joining me for this
Thank you.
interview, and I see you.
Bye.
Bye.